thank you for your lady first. Sorry, I'd like to explain our motivation. Okay. Our company has been building many Linux-based products. The cost to build one finished product is not small. So in order to reduce, in order to share the cost, in the past, we collaborated with Sony to launch GE Linux Forum. That is now called GE Working Group and managed by Linux Foundation. Through the effort with consumer companies, other consumer companies, we learned a lot and we share the asset of open source software. So that is our basic motivation. So we would like to also invest in AGA also. Thank you.
Ricardo, how is open source changing your business as a semiconductor provider?
Initially, I started my Linux career. I started playing Linux because it's version 1.0 to 2.0 migration time. People, the company thinks I'm just playing with Linux. And I'm very happy that now the AGL has a good reason to say the company, so we need to contribute to the Linux activity for the business. And previously we have some dedicated team developers that was directly close to the community guys. But now we have some dedicated team to make some of the AGL activities, because the Linux is just a kernel portion and AGL is a much wider scope, so including many middleware and some stuff. So I'm very happy to see the new collaboration model, because formerly the Nessus is a chips provider sitting on the bottom of the food chain industry, but now we have many opportunity to talk to the many tier 1 company, even our competitor guys and also the OEM company, neutrally, hopefully. So this is very good motivation, and I invested a lot for that kind of activities now.
And Murata-san, how about you and Toyota Motor?
The big motivation was, as I explained in the past areas, the big motivation was we don't want to spend duplicated work among tier 1s, and also we don't want to waste the time and the money for just maintaining that kind of asset of software for differently in many different companies. And honestly speaking, before joining Toyota, I was engaged in Sony. And I know Wada-san's team and Sony, some of the Sony team was collaborating working together with Linux, but at the time, I was writing my own proprietary operating system, real-time operating system at the time. And at the time, I repeatedly said, oh, I don't want any single bit of Linux code at all. But it was so hard to maintain the proprietary software by the company itself. And I learned that kind of thing, but at the time I was not able to move on. But after joining Toyota, I realized that we don't have to waste time. It's because the innovation cycles is quicker than before. And to catch up and to enhance our innovations, it's really important to collaborate with many other people. That's a big motivation.
Wow, yeah, absolutely. Actually, that's perfect segue into my next question, which is the automotive industry historically has been very closed, proprietary systems, black boxes. Open source really requires competitors to collaborate together. So how do you find common ground, and how has it been your experience with collaborating with competitors?
It's the competitors probably means some other OEMs or tier 1 which is not in our ecosystem probably, but as not competitors anymore. We are creating together a new user's experience and a new society for all the automotive in the world. And we are collaborating in terms of the as a device, as a vehicle, as a device. However, its competition should be focusing on the quality, design, or usability, or UX, that kind of things. But as a fundamental portion to realizing that kind of UX, must be collaborative working together. That's our motivation. And for the rest of the portions, like vehicle control type of things or such kind of things, it's still necessary to be close because it's really integrated with many other issues or devices tied to the hardware or chemical phenomena or so on. So that it still needs to be very carefully designed by ourselves. But for the information or software type of things, it's time to collaborate with others to enhance the more innovation on top of that.
And Munekata-san, about the semiconductor point of view, in terms of collaborating with your competitors.
Well, so I think that in case it's only one semiconductor company that provides the chip, is it a healthy thing or not? Because I think the competition makes some things better because actually I'm talking about mostly software side, but when I start educating the people to write the software, so they can come with some code, and it works. But I may ask them to review that mutually and shape it, because open source collaboration is industry-wide, many companies and many country people are working together to shape one code. So that's the enormous effort to make things better, because you can write the working code, but the competition makes some things the more lightweight and shaping the light shapes, that kind of thing. So the competition is a healthy thing, basically. Yeah. So
Okay. And still on the open source topic, so open source is new to automotive, obviously, fairly new to automotive compared to other, verticals like telecom and so on. Probably been using open source longer than automotive. So what are some of the technical and organizational challenges that you've faced internally to get open source adopted? Did your company think you were crazy?
No, it used to be, many people compare this. Oh, no, really. When I started joining the activities of the Linux Foundation or Agile, it's agreed and it's understood within our company. But instead, other ecosystems, like including the ones like Dell or Sony, they say, "Oh, you're great." So in our company, we have already understood that kind of things at the time when we joined the Linux Foundation.
Okay.
And now it's very it's not really like we are collaborating in other words like the artificial intelligence technologies or the visual recognition or such kind of things as well as open collaborations with other companies. So it's not only for the IBI portions of software, but also the collaboration is happening in many different areas as well.
Okay. Anyone else have a comment?
So in typical case, I am an open source guy, so I have worked over 15 years. But many people claim that that's a hobby. Who has to maintain that? But in reality, in almost every case, the open source code, as I mentioned previously, the open source code is reviewed by the community and already shaped very well and a very functional thing. So in many cases, open source is better than your private code. And people now getting understand that things and don't stick on the private code. But still some people think and they don't want to touch code because old code is better. Because I don't say the program is not the wine. Old wine is the better thing, as you know. But now the many the new cybersecurity type things are informed. So people must update the software. People hoping that. So now people completely change their mindset to see the open source first And if you need an additional requirement, so do you communicate to the community guide to make it more better? So that kind of thing happens right now. So getting better. Yes.
Okay. So your company doesn't take care of it?
Yeah, now the open source is the only option.
Okay, good. Yeah.
From the viewpoint of engineer would be happy in I think engineer would be happy in the open source community because they will have a chance to communicate with other companies' engineers, and they can discuss it deeply, deeper than internal discussion.
So traditionally, one of the issues that the automotive market has had is that it takes too long to produce an infotainment system compared to the cycles of a new smartphone every 12 months. So what do you think has prevented the automotive industry from keeping up with the smartphone? And do you believe that AGL will help with a faster cycle and a faster time to market in terms of new infotainment products every 12 months or so on? Or what is your opinion?
I think it helps much actually, and probably eventually 12 month cycle would be possible, but I cannot guarantee that. But you know, for the development type of things, it's okay. But we have to evaluate the system as a whole. So it would take more time than just the development instructions. So that's a tricky point. You know. But it's not. It's getting closer to what is the software for the smartphone or any other type, that kind of devices. We are very close approaching to the closer to that kind of development schemes, but still we have a unique point.
Anyone else want to comment?
So I can say the car is much more complicated compared to the other some kind of digital equipment like a smartphone and others. But if you compare to the airplane takes more than a long time to validate all the things. So I think it requires some link time to the validate all the things. But IVI, the information related part, because people want to connect your newly purchased smartphone to your car. So that type of the migration, some upgradability and replaceability may be requested. So we make some standard. So I don't know, but it's a matter of the OEM. But if we can provide some sort of the way to replace some equipment, so that may satisfy the many demand. So that kind of thing may be discussed based on this kind of AGL type of activities.
So another concern in the industry, obviously lately we've seen a lot of news about car hacking. You know, people hacking cars. It's a big concern. So when the code is open, you know, with an open source methodology, what is the impact on security? And do you believe that it's a better approach to have open source code for security?
I think regardless it's open or not, a hacker can attack, right?
Yeah.
So it's not open source or not. It's not a matter in terms of hacking, and we must protect anyways our vehicles from that kind of attack remotely, anyways. Especially it's getting more important at age of connected vehicles. But it's not a matter of open source. But it's in terms of the software visibility, software source code visibility, it's good for hackers to see what's happening in the box. But also at the same time, it's good to review the code by many eyes. So it's almost equivalent.
So, you know, if you connect your PC to any equipment to the internet, so immediately after the attack packet is coming.
Right away.
Yeah, right away, yes. So that means hacking and such an attack is not special things. So if any device intend to connect to the internet, so you must be ready to protect something. So of course, because formally the car is not connected by because they have some limited, the OEM company provides some special connection. It's a only secure connection. But if you connect the common cybersecurity internet port, so you must be fully protected. So this kind of thing must be discussed. And you know the very famous, in open source world we use the word hacker and the cracker in a different manner, but so you know the Jeep, the Chrysler Jeep is hacked by some guys, and the people, they just, maybe the last month, they free opened some report to how they hacked and what's the methodology and what's the data type thing. That means they are not bad motivation. They try to educate us, please protect, we learn these kind of things, and are ready for protect that. So we should learn that type of things, and we implement such kind of capability into our IPS systems.
Okay, so we've been talking, you know, the whole past day and today about infotainment. But what about ADAS development and autonomous driving and ADAS? What do you think open source, what role will open source play in ADAS and autonomous driving?
This particular technology area seems to me to be still in printing stage. The discussion within the open source community tends to diverge. So in a short time, I'm thinking it would be still difficult. However, we are already seeing that there are some advancements in the open source of deep learning and neural network. It seems very promising that open source will become the driving force for such kind of ADAS and automotive application.
That sounds like right.
I think it's too early to say that kind of things because, you know, as I said, the vehicle controlling type of things must be very carefully designed. It shouldn't have any, you know, defects before we see them. So to do that, it's really, if it's not really matured yet as an architecture, it's almost impossible to make it open, to change the code by many people who are not really involved with the entire system architecture. So I think it's too early to say that kind of things. But eventually, if the number of source code is exceeded to more than, for example, the million lines of codes, or if the system architecture is matured, then probably we can start to think about that.
So I'm not sure what kind of software technology can be directly involved to the ADAS and autonomous driving system, but even so, for example, the autonomous driving is required a precise map, and also the deep learning, the update or something. So that must involve some part, partially, for example, database and connectivity is operated by the open source. So indirectly, the open source technology is helping that kind of thing already. And how we can utilize them, because even for the evaluation phase, the people want to use open source based R&D systems, then moving to some real product. So I think that we must be ready for such kind of requirement, because open source, because if you talk about the Linux is a huge asset, and also we are running many the big component on top of that. So it's honestly, my gut feeling is that it's very difficult to fully certify the open source systems. But we can partially use that to some specific use case. So we want to keep discussion on this kind of topic, but what are the later discussions?
So you bring up a really good point. Let's expand on that. What about the data, the mapping data, the deep learning that needs to happen? Should that data be open and licensed, like freely, to all the car manufacturers, so that they're all using the same data? And does it help with liability, for example? If everyone's using the same data and two cars crash, No one's at fault.
Password is just a lovely idea, but I don't know. This is business way to talk about it.
Okay. Maybe we're not the son. What do you think?
Don't ask me.
You need a lawyer, Ray. But maybe the data needs to be open and shared.
In some sense, yes. In some sense, no.
Okay.
If it's tightly related to the system cycles,
Yeah.
we have to have a control, and we have to see the data's quality itself.
Okay, so open source is obviously with AGL changing automotive. What do you think software development will look like in 5 years, 10 years for the automotive industry?
In vehicle system development, we could come up with many issues that are not actually big issue in other computer systems. So, for example, we nowadays have a navigation display, the center display. But in the future, we are expecting that not only the navigation system, but also instruments cluster mirrors will become digital display. And they will all interact with each other. And eventually, more and more information will be added to the automotive system, and also higher and higher resolution display will be required. And this will lead to increase the amount of software by far. So furthermore, there will be a big change in the development of an integrated HMI to support safety driving system. Not only display, but also voice and alarm. So I could add that the progress of in-vehicle system would lead us to reach the technology frontier, which we have never been.
So as Dominic pointed, the software is getting much bigger portion in the car. So we need more talent to the also software part. Because previously, this limited cycle people are making the hardware and also the writing the software for that. But if you see the world, so the some open, because of some people already writing the code for the IT technology, like a cloud-based or web-based technology. So not involved into this automotive target stuff. And I want to invite them to join. So in that case, we need to provide some common API, the user-friendly, the IDE or type of thing, to invite more the talented people to write a new attractive application. So this kind of change should happen in upcoming 5 years.
What about car manufacturers? Do you think that you will take more ownership of the software over time in 5, 10 years?
Yeah, probably yes. But I cannot answer that kind of question at this moment because we don't have the ability to program everything by ourselves. And also, the more important thing is not just closed within the vehicle. We, as you can tell from the organization change in Toyota in last year, we created a so-called connected company in the Automotive Corporation. And the organization is composed of the vehicle embedded side engineering and also application server side, service side. So all those kinds of vertical type of combination of the organization was introduced. That would be a kind of key message there, I think. And integrating the embedded side applications and the cloud for realizing the user's experience or services, that's a kind of total integration of the architecture and the user's experience. Those kind of things are more important than just putting those elements separately. So probably that kind of vertical coordination of development is going to be a key, but it's quite huge so that we cannot afford everything by ourselves. So probably still we need a wider open collaboration for the purpose.
Which leads to my next question. We have 98 companies at AGL, so that's pretty amazing how far we've come. But how do we encourage more collaboration? Because not all 98 companies are necessarily contributing right now. So how do we encourage them to collaborate and adopt an open source methodology and contribute code across the whole automotive supply chain?
We have already, as you can tell, we have already started to sell the product using the open source technologies, and that's our target in the past. But also, if a newcomer of even from the other industries can join the cooperation, and then they could make some business on top of that. And that's not only, the AGL is not only for Toyota. Many other OEMs are participating and they're really willing to use that. So that means there are lots of chances of making a business on that. But to do that, the collaboration is a mandatory conditions. So taking some risk to port their software on top of the AGL, then they can start to offer to sell the software easily to many OEMs or tier ones. So that kind of give and take type of collaboration will be happening using the open source manner in the business level. So that's you have to keep in your mind. And the open source collaboration is not a hobby. It's a business.
It's a business, right?
Yeah. So that's creating a new business chances without the barrier is the fundamental topics or the target of using the open source in the industry. It's not a hobby.
Yeah, I think the hobby side, but I believe the AGL is the industry consortium sitting between the community and the business. So previously, you were more highlight on the open source interface side, and it's working better than previous. And now this is the time to invite more business guy because we must lower the bar to get into these circles. And yesterday, Tanibas-san talked about he introduced what kind because they work with many partners companies and they provide some friendly interface to invite them their application can run on the AGL interface. This kind of some kind of motivation, this kind of helping people to join this activity is important. And now we are start doing that. So I hope some more new people are joining this activity to make a healthy competition maybe.
Yeah.
I'd like to mention one thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a business, I'm an engineer.
Okay. Very good. Actually, you code on the weekends, right? Let's see. Munagata-san, that leads to my next question, which is, we have a lot of new members at AGL. What advice would you give the new members in terms of starting to adopt open source, because they may be new to it, especially in the automotive industry? What advice would you give them?
I think anyone who want to make some better new generation connected car may have the similar requirements, similar headache. So before starting thinking their own private things, please share your burden and think together. Because most of the things, even not achieved yet, we already discussing in this place. And that will make some, because I believe that AGL getting healthy because many new regions, many new parties are joining the activities, and that makes them much better the discussion compared to previous. So I want to keep that kind of manner. Yeah. So please join fast. Yeah.
Okay. Any other comment?
We are very welcome for newcomers.
Okay.
Probably even from other tier ones. That's tremendous. You can see, as I mentioned in my talk, you can see the demonstration of AGL, not individual companies. That's very amazing. In the CES demonstrations, this year we made the demonstration of CES in conjunction with GENIVI demonstration. However, all the demonstration from AGL was AGL based. So
And they all look the same.
yeah,
Yeah.
and adding new features or new hardware, new support services or so on. But if we look at the other doors of the suite, it's just to show some business use cases or business integrations type of things by each company.
Yeah.
Was not really a collaboration.
Yeah.
So I think Asia as a telecom industry very good to collaborate together, and that would lead more innovation on top of that, or even within the code itself.
So that's a good point. If we fast forward a year or two from now, do you believe that AGL will become the de facto standard for the industry?
Oh.
That we're aiming, yeah.
Yeah. Very good, very good. Do you have any closing remarks?
Lastly, I want to say that this event is co-located by the Open Source Summit, and they are gathering very, very good, super high level open source guys coming here. So please utilize this opportunity to talk to them. If you have a chance to join the OSS side talk or something, so to understand each other. So that's a very good training opportunity for you.
Perfect. Perfect.
I really love to discuss technical things rather than talking about cameras. Today.
Very good. Okay. All right. So that concludes our panel session. Thank you very much to our panelists. We're going to have breakout sessions all afternoon. So please enjoy the rest of Automotive Grade Linux Summit, and we'll be back here tomorrow for more keynotes. Thank you very much.